thoughts now that the season has come to an end? I'm sure disappointed to not still be playing. Just your overall thoughts on the year and now heading into the off season.
Yeah, it was a long year for sure, and a lot transpired, and with the coaching change and a bunch of different things. But I think going into the year, everyone thought that we would, there's a chance we'd be in the playoffs, or that's what we were definitely striving for. So definitely a little disappointing at this point in time, but I think there's still things to look forward to. I think Detmer being injured for a big portion of the season definitely didn't help us, and when he came back, I thought we were definitely better. You saw we went on that 10-2 run a couple weeks ago, and with the coaching change and Footer and Talk and Gonch and those guys, I think they're definitely going to help us. So definitely a little disappointing right now, but looking forward, I think that it's we should be excited going into next year.
JT was in here a few minutes ago, talked about the foundation that's been built here over the last couple of months. Is that sort of a big reason for optimism for you? What you guys, you referenced the 10-2 run, the way you've defended as a group has been improved. Are those things that you're, optimistic about going forward?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone should be optimistic. I mean, like I said, Gonch and Talk and Footer, I think they've done a, really good job with everyone. And me personally, I'm really excited to continue working with them, and I think as a core, as a team, everyone's got a clear message of what is expected from them, and defensively, I think that they've helped us with their systems. And again, with Detmer being out and then coming back, that's also a huge part of the defensive play. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to say right now that we should be optimistic going into the year, but I think that we got a lot of good pieces here, and things are moving in the right direction. So, like I said, it's been a difficult year for sure, but I think that we'll be a better team and a better group for next year for what we dealt with this year.
Quinn, a lot of your optimism comes from trying to improve offensively and your shot. I know you get a lot of your drive from your rich family heritage and your brothers. I'm sure you may have seen Luke's goal, and I'm just wondering what that does for you, knowing that you guys are all going to train together and to be pushed by your brothers. And hey, is Luke going to show you how to score, or how's that going to play itself out?
He's always, it's weird. Even in the summer, he's got that scoring touch. Like he can score. Yeah, I mean, he had 19 goals as a freshman defenseman. Hasn't been done in like 55 years or something. So, and then this year, sophomore year, I don't know what he had, but 13 or 14. So he's a really good player. I've been telling you guys, and I'm not worried about what he's doing right now. I told him he could have went out there and been -3. He could have been +3. My mindset wouldn't have changed with him. I think at 23, 24 years old, he's going to be a really, really good player, and so we'll see what happens with them in the playoffs. But yeah, as far as the summer with my brothers training, it's been great, and with Larkin and Wierenski and all these guys that are there, I think we really just push each other, and it's been fun. And you look at all the guys that have, skated with us, Kyle Connor, and the last couple of years, their games have just gotten better, including my own. So I think we've just pushed each other, and I think going in this summer, I'm more hungry than other summers just because how this year went. But I think we'll just continue to keep getting better, all of us.
Conor, you hold yourself to a pretty high standard, and goals can come and go, but you finished with a hat-trick performance against your old club. What did it mean to you in the sense that just not only proving to yourself, but that's a pretty good performance at the end of the year? Is there a sense of satisfaction in that, or is there a bit of frustration in the sense that you'd like to be more consistent?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just one game, and last game of the season, so especially when you're out of the playoffs for a month there, it doesn't really mean much at all. So it's just another game, and obviously it's nice to win the last game, but we're not in the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter.
Oliver, you were injured on February 15th, and then after that, I think a couple of times you expressed a hope, at the very least, that you would get back. What went into the decision ultimately to shut you down for the season? Did the body just not respond to a point where you could? And were you ever skating again? Was it a possibility?
I I mean, I wasn't ready. I've been skating the last week, so that was kind of the mindset. But yeah, I'm feeling better now. Like I said, I started skating last week and taking baby steps, but yeah, it wasn't feeling too good, and I knew it was gonna take 6 to 8 weeks, and we're around that time now, so it started to feel better.
Sorry, Quinn, I want to pick at something. You talked about advice to your brother and saying he's going to be a really good player at 23, 24, which just caught my ear because you're that age now. Do you feel like your game took a significant step getting into that sort of window?
Yeah, I think it has, and like as a young defenseman, it's really hard because you're trying to make plays and you have the puck on your stick a lot, and you're playing against really good lines. And my second year, obviously, struggled defensively, and I think that a lot of guys go through that. I mean, you look at Darlene; he was -33 that year, and now he's one of the best in the league, I would say. So I think a lot of guys go through that. Just the more you see, the more you get, and it just as you continue to play in the league and you get more and more games, the more comfortable you feel and the more confident you are. So I think for Luke, it's going to be the same thing, just reps. He's going to be a really good player. I mean, he's a really good player right now, and definitely I think can play in the league, and I think he's shown that in the last couple of games. But like I said, I think in the long run, when he's 23, 24, he's going to be a hell of a player. So that was just what my mindset is. And as far as my game right now, I feel very confident. I think last year was a big growing step for me, and then this year I think I took another step. So
Oliver, you've spent a long time in this league, been a top young defenseman. What did you see from your teammate? And I know it always makes you guys uncomfortable to talk about a guy when he's right beside you, but what did you see from Quinn in terms of the step he took this year versus your first season as teammates last year?
yeah, I mean, I obviously knew that he was an unbelievable player, but at the same time, last year I thought he got a lot better, improved his D-zone game, and even this year, like, he's been lights out all over the ice. So it's fun to see, and I mean, I'm just happy to get a chance to play with a guy like that and try to help as much as I can, and I hope I am in some ways. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to see him grow, and I mean, on and off the ice. It's been a really fun year, and been unbelievable for me to just be a part of it.
Oliver, just before the injury even, just how challenging of a season was it for you personally, and what are your hopes this offseason to accomplish and to work on?
Yeah, I think it's been a tough year for all of us. I think everything going on, getting a new coach, and that kind of plays into the season too. But yeah, for me, I'm obviously disappointed in my season, and when you don't make the playoffs, it's going to be. I mean, I'm looking forward to the summer to really work out and come in great shape, because I broke my foot at the Worlds last year, and I kind of had to battle through in the summer, and felt like it was not ideal to come in for camp, and I hope that I have a really good summer, and really want to get better and prove that I'm still a good player.
Thatcher, for you, you finished the season so well. For the whole organization, next year's start after the last couple of years is so important. Take me through kind of how you see your off-season preparation so that you can start at the level you finished this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to go rewrite the book on what you're doing in the summer. I typically get here pretty early. So I think, it's I'm not going to change too much. Obviously, like you said, our starts as a group, and me personally this year, I wasn't pleased with my start. It's got to be better. I think the last 2 years, we get into December and we're already behind the 8 ball, and just makes the season a lot more difficult that way. So I know that's a focus of our group, as a group and as individuals, to come in ready to go and be coming out of the gate.
When you had the injury and you had that time, did you have a time to kind of reflect on why your season started the way it did?
I mean, I think it's natural as an athlete and competitor to try and figure out the reason behind the times that you don't perform well. You know, I learned a lot about myself through the injury, physically. You know, I feel like I'm a lot more knowledgeable in that realm, and I think, you know, leading up to the injury, I wasn't feeling super great, and obviously, you know, that was the end result. But I took the time that I had with the injury to learn about my body and learn some different things that I can do to make sure that I'm performing at the level I have to.
So do you think that injury is something that is avoidable, or was that just a fluke that, you know, you can't really prepare for something like that?
I don't know. I mean, injuries are going to happen, but obviously we can do things to, you know, do our best to prevent them. So.
Thatcher, there was a lot of optimism, obviously, at the end of last season, and we saw what happened at the start of this one. Do things feel differently now? Does what has happened the last 2 months, does that seem any more sustainable to you than what had happened last season?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little more tangible. Like you can see it, you know, just our defensive play, the structure that we've put in place. Huggy mentioned, you know, the staff coming in and putting in some new systems, and I think that's stuff that we can build around. I also think just as a group, we learned a lot. You know, coming into this year, we were so optimistic and maybe took that for granted. You know, we finished the year pretty well there, you know, pushing for a playoff spot, and, you know, just realizing that nothing's given to you and you got to come in ready to go. And, you know, I know a lot of the guys took that to heart. So,
Oliver, you talked about the foot injury last year and how that affected, in hindsight, you know, should you have prepared differently for the season? Was it something that you maybe didn't anticipate? You know, is there something you have to change going forward preparing for the season?
I mean, I couldn't really skate last summer. I think that plays into to the way I was feeling early on in the season. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that I could, and I know I will, because I'm feeling a lot better now and I'm skating already. So I'm excited.
Do you think you have to change who you are as a player going forward?
No.
Quinn, maybe a bit of a follow-up on Ian's question to Thatcher. Do you feel good about moving forward? Do you think the team has taken the steps it's needed this year so the team can be a playoff contender next year?
Yeah, I do. I think that we have a great coaching staff, and I think that we have a lot of good players. We had a lot of injuries this year as well, and I think that if you look at the, you know, Devils, for instance, they had struggled last year, and then they put it together this year. So I think that can definitely happen. You know, it was mentioned here earlier, but I think just the start's going to be really important next year, and I think we definitely can do what we want to do.
You and Elias were kind of, you know, along with a couple other guys, but the two of you stood out this year on a team that had a lot of struggles. Moving forward to next year, how do you see yourself in that position next year? Like, people are going to look at you and Elias as the two players that, and probably Thatcher too, the two players that are going to carry this team. Personally, how do you accept that role?
I don't know. I think, you know, I can't speak for Elias, but I think we're, you know, competitive guys. I know Demer definitely is, and you know, we want to just, you know, try to be as good as we can. I think that was the biggest thing for me, especially like the last 20 games. It's not easy to be playing when you're not necessarily in the race, but I think for me, my motivation was just try to push myself and try to, you know, be as good as I can as a player. And I think this summer I have a lot of ideas in my head, things I want to get better at and work on, and hopefully that can continue to, you know, get me better as a player next year. And I feel really motivated right now. It wasn't an easy year, and excited to go home and rest and recoup and take some time off. But I'm, you know, going to be, you know, looking forward to this summer and next year. So I think there's a lot we can continue to do, especially, you know, Demer and Peter are still young guys, myself, and I think that we have a bunch of other really good players as well that, you know, want to have really good years next year and are competitive guys. And you listen to O up here talk about that as well. I think summer's going to be big for everyone, and I think guys are going to be excited and hungry to come back next year to prove that we're a good team.
Thatcher, we've heard quite a few of the players mention that they played well, and especially when you were in net. Do you look at that as sort of pressure, and do you kind of enjoy that the guys know this team plays extremely well when you're on your game? Is that something you see as pressure or something else, and do you like that being put on you?
I mean, playing in this market, I wouldn't consider that pressure. I mean, like Huggy just said, like we all just want to be our best, and there's responsibility that comes with that, and it's up to the individual to do the things that they have to do to be the best version of themselves on and off the ice. So.
And Quinn, for you, we've seen some brothers in the NHL be pretty supportive of their brothers when they're in the playoffs. Do you have any plans with following the Devils or anything?
Yeah, I'll go watch, support those guys, and should be fun. They had a great year and deserve to, be in the playoffs, of course. So I'm excited to watch them.
For Connor, when you first were playing under Tocchet in Arizona, you were playing upwards of 18 minutes a night. You've shown you could produce in this league, but you weren't quite utilized to the same role here in Vancouver. Were you surprised that maybe you didn't get more of an opportunity in the latter half of the season with Tocchet here?
I thought I had opportunity. I think it was just in a different role, and I enjoy playing for Talk. He's a great man, and he's a really good coach and very detailed and works hard. And his energy kind of comes through the room in that sense. And he's I know the guys here enjoyed playing for him as well. So it was good to have him back for the second half.
Quinn, when did you sort of perceive there was maybe a cloud over Bruce, and how did that affect the team, you think?
Probably pretty early on, to be honest with you, and I think that it probably wasn't an easy thing for him to deal with, and the other coaches, and definitely stressful for them. And as players, you just kind of got to focus on what you can control, and I think that's a big thing for players, just not letting other outside distractions get to you. But definitely, as his his tenure kind of came to an end, it was definitely a cloud there or a little distraction, and obviously it's a situation you don't want to see. And but Bruce was a good man and good coach, and felt bad for him, but at the same time, I think it was something that probably needed to happen. Just after seeing Talk and Gonch and some of the guys and Footer, the way that they communicate and are teaching and helping guys, I think that it's definitely clear that needed to happen.
Quinn, you obviously want to be back in the playoffs. Tocchet has talked about how you've been more vocal and more of a leader. Do you take it on yourself to challenge your teammates going into this offseason to prepare in a different way?
I don't know. I think like Thatcher said, everyone's a professional here, and it's up to the individual. I know for myself that I'm, like I said, I feel very motivated going into the summer. I feel like there's still lots of growth for me. I'm only 23, and I think that from 20 to 23, there's been a lot of growth, and I think that from 23 to 26, there can be more growth as well. So that's where my head's at as far as me trying to be more of a leader. I think that there's lots of guys in here that I can rely on and have talked to and have helped me throughout the season, and I think that there's still so much for me to learn. And I think for me it was more just trying to push myself out of my own comfort zone and continue grow as a person, not only as a player. So as far as that, there's still lots of guys for me to lean on. I mean, lots of good leaders in here, and like I said, I'm still a young guy, still trying to piece it all together and learn and continue to learn, and we'll see what happens.
Oliver, I'm going to ask you to talk about the guy next to you again. As a former captain, have you seen his growth as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking a little bit about it before. I think just the way he carries himself off the ice and the way he's playing, I mean, I knew coming in that he was an unbelievable player, but I didn't know how hard he worked on and off the ice. So that's been really fun to see for me. And like he said, I feel like he's been taking big steps off the ice, and a lot of pride in being a leader and being the guy for this team. So like I said, it's fun to be a part of.
Quinn, this time last year when we met with you guys, there was a little bit of uncertainty around Bruce's future, and obviously that got sorted out into the offseason. How important is it going into this offseason that Rick's been here, he's been able to clearly communicate the standards he wants you guys to set, and you're able to approach the summer understanding where the expectations are going to be heading into training camp?
I think it's really important. I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of confidence. You know, everyone's working together. I'd say everyone's pulling the same rope. So I don't know if it was like that last summer, but I think right now that's definitely what's going on. So I'm excited to, you know, get back next year. Like I said, I'm going to go home and take some time to recruit and rest. But, you know, going into next year, I think, like I said, everyone's pulling the same rope. Everyone knows what's going to be asked of them. Everyone knows how we want to play and what the standard's going to be in the locker room. So it's up to everyone to show up to camp, you know, ready to go and with the right mindset. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens.